This is Maximum Lawyer with your host, Tyson Mutrux.
Welcome back to another Saturday episode of the Maximum Lawyer podcast. I'm Tyson Mutrux, and today I'm going to give you 10 prompts you can use to improve your law firm. All right, so I went through and I picked some of the ones that I like to use, and then I came up with some ones I thought you might be able to use in your practices, and hopefully you'll get something out of it. But before I get to that, I would love to hear from you. So shoot me a text, 314-501-9260, 314-501-9260. Also, if you want to be on the show, or if you just have a question you want me to read on the show, you can put it in the text line, or what you can do is go to MaximumLawyer.com/ask, and you can submit your audio version of that there. Or you can just text it to us as well, and I'll answer it on the air. All right, let's get to today's show. I think this is a fun one. I kind of geek out about this stuff, so I apologize if this is boring to any of you, but I don't think it will be. I think that we get to the point where most of us in 2024, we are using ChatGPT or some other platform at this point. I use Perplexity a ton. That's probably my favorite platform, but it's kind of hard to beat ChatGPT. Some of these, some of these I'm going to talk about you can use with any platform. Some of these are limited to others. For example, there's one I'm going to talk to you about when it comes to drafting things that you're going to want to use ChatGPT with Canvas. So the 4.0 with Canvas, but we'll talk about that in a second. All right, so the first one, and this one might seem a little silly given all the other platforms that we have at this point when it comes to legal research, but there is something that I use, and I'm going to give you a really generic example, but I do like to use ChatGPT every once in a while to come up with elements of a case. So I'm going to give you just like I said, a basic example. So it's essentially this: what is the current standard for blank in whatever state? Or what are the elements of you can put a negligence case, you can put a car crash case, personal injury car crash case in the state of Missouri. You can do something like that. But so a really more generic one would be, what is the current standard for negligence in personal injury cases in Missouri? And you kind of get those elements. It's just a nice starting point. There are many times I've seen where it's not accurate, but that's really in the past. Most of the stuff you get now is pretty accurate. I dare you to test it out. And it gives you citations now where you can click on the link and it takes you to the source so you can actually look at it, which is nice. But I like to do that sometimes with a good starting point. And so check that one out. See what you think. I know that's a really basic one, but we got to build up to the bigger stuff, I think. All right. The next one is drafting documents. So this is a fun one. Something I've been having fun with lately is using AI to build out mediation statements, because we have to do, when we have a mediation, we don't have to. I think you'd be crazy not to, because at least on the plaintiff side, the defense is going to do it. But you're going to want to submit a mediation statement to the mediator. And you can do this with a lot of different ones. Notebook LM is a really good one for this, because you can upload your documents to it, and you can do the same thing with ChatGPT. But I know the concerns that a lot of people have are with ChatGPT is, confidentiality and all that. So Notebook LM is a little bit more of a secure one where you're not giving all your information up. But what you can do is you can give it a template and then say, this is what I want you to build it around, and it'll build it. That's one example of many that I'm sure many of you can think of. I don't know if I would use it for like drafting wills and all that, but you can use it to draft things like that you will then go in and edit. And I guess I'll go ahead and mention this part too. A good tool and I don't know if this comes with the free version, but I know with the paid version, the GPT 4.0 with Canvas, you go in and you can actually edit it. You can actually edit it in real time and make tweaks, and then work from it almost like you're working from a Word document or from a Google Doc. So I would use it if I were just if you're going to use something like ChatGPT, just use Canvas, because you can edit it right there. Because you're going to have to make edits. Getting a perfect one's fairly unlikely. Just be honest with you. All right. The next one I want to talk about is just sort of, more of a practice management one. And let's say you don't have a standard operating procedure for something in particular. Use it to build the bones for you. I usually start with an outline. So maybe you'd start with, create an outline for a standard operating procedure for onboarding new clients in a personal injury case or a personal injury law firm. And then once you build out the outline, then say, write the SOP. It's a pretty simple one. I know that you're going to get pretty generic responses with something like that, but you are going to get the bones of it, and you can edit it how you want, but at least you'll have it at that point. Especially if you're first starting out and you don't have any SOPs, you're going to need them as you grow. So this is a really easy way of doing it. It's going to get you, 90% of the way there. When it comes to, more of a marketing standpoint, I'm going to tell you this, but don't just have ChatGPT build it and then you're done. This is not what I'm saying with this one. But a starting point could be, I usually put article instead of blog post, but you can say write an article or write a blog post about the steps to take after a car accident optimized for SEO. Use something like that. This is the one where you definitely want to use, because this is where if you don't do what I'm about to say, you're going to get dinged by Google, maybe, probably. Well, depending on who you talk to. I've talked to some SEOs that don't think that that's probably going to happen. But the safest thing that you're going to do, I watched a bunch of videos on this when it comes to, I just kind of went down a rabbit hole when it comes to SEO. And all of the, for the most part, the pros are saying you need to sort of scrub it. If you're going to use ChatGPT to build out the bones for the website, they don't say bones, that's just something I use. But then you're going to need to sort of scrub it in some way. And what you'd want to do with that one in particular is you're going to use Canvas and ChatGPT, and then you're going to go and add your own tweaks to it, your own flavor to it, so that it's not just something that a robot spit out, right? The AI, it is somewhat detectable. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go in and put more your human touch on it so that it's still optimized for SEO and it removes some of that AI voice to it. So you're going to add your own flavor to it. It's a really easy way of taking something that could take you several hours and you could probably knock it out in 10 minutes because it's building out the most of the bones for you. All right. Another thing is training and development. I've done something similar to this. It's better if you do it in small increments, and I'll tell you what I mean by that. So you can say something like create an outline for a training module, or create a training module outline for paralegals handling discovery and personal injury cases. And I know that every person or every firm, you're going to have your own way of doing it, but you can give it additional prompts. You can say, this is how we currently do it. Here are the steps how we currently do it. And you can give all that in there as well. Once you have the outline, my advice to you then is to say, start with the section on responding to discovery and start with and go like bit by bit by bit, instead of saying, all right, write the entire process. You'll get less. It'll be less accurate. It'll also be less detailed. And that's not really what you want. You're going to want something that is going to be easy for your employees to use. So that's another way of doing it. When it comes to automation, help you out with some of that stuff, you can help or have it write content. Not content. You can have it write the emails that you might send or text messages that you send to clients for things. So maybe, provide or write a series of 6 text messages that I could send to a personal injury client after a car crash. You could do something like that, where I know that's not quite automation, but it does give you some of because the part of automation, there's 2 parts of it, which is kind of interesting. Whenever Kashyap and I are working on something that we're automating, he can build out the tech stuff, but he needs me or someone else in the firm to give him the actual what we want to say to them, because I might say it way different than what Kashyap might, and so he always asks me to give that stuff to him, and so there is that part that I think a lot of people overlook almost the copywriting element of automation, which is still an important part of it. Something else you could do, and I've done this several times, where you're having an issue with an automation system. I'm going to give you a really generic one that I don't know if I would really ask it this way, but you say something like, how can I automate follow-up emails for personal injury clients using Zoho CRM? That will get you eventually to where you need to be for what you're trying to do with whatever system you're using. But so I happen to use, we have Zoho CRM at the firm because we use a lot of Zoho products. So that's why that one is an example. But you could use it for, HubSpot, Infusionsoft, or whatever they're calling it these days. You can do it for whatever you want, but it will give you specifics, and you can give it additional prompts to go down whatever rabbit hole you need to. All right, the next one is about improving client communication. This is one where I think it could be you could have a lot of fun with it, and it could help you out quite a bit. So, write a script for explaining the litigation process to a client in simple terms. Another thing you could do is upload a contract and write a script for explaining this contract to a client in simple terms. That could be really, really effective. And those of you that send video messages to clients, this is an easy way to do that. Or if you just want to draft an email based on it, you can do that as well. Another one is about, content creation. You draft a podcast episode about, or draft a podcast episode outline about blank. So, draft a podcast episode outline about how to maximize the settlement in a personal injury case. And then you have it build out the episode for you, the script for you. It's a pretty easy one. You can do it for scenario-based problem solving. That's another one that's pretty interesting. So, what are the best strategies for deposing a defendant's medical expert in a case in Missouri, and then you can lay out the facts or some of the basic facts or maybe some of the medical issues. That's another way. I've used that. I used that a few weeks ago, not that one specifically, but I was trying to find a way to craft some questions, and I was trying to get some ideas on how to craft the questions. And so it gave me a few different ideas, and it actually gave me, there was another one I used. It wasn't on an expert. It was on a witness. And I didn't want to be too obvious about what I was trying to ask. I wanted to be I was trying to kind of beat around the bush until I got it, because I didn't want them to pick up on what I was asking. So I told ChatGPT that, and then it provided me a series of questions. They weren't perfect, but I was able to adapt it to make it my own. But it was pretty cool because it did allow me to ask a bunch of questions to get around to the point where I needed to get to, which was a lot of fun. So you can use it for that scenario-based problem solving. And then just another one, just when it comes to improvement with clients, you can help it build out surveys for you. So what questions should I ask in client feedback surveys to improve my law firm services? And in any of these, you're not going to like everything that you get, but the idea is that it's going to give you most of what you need, and then you can edit it for whatever purposes you're using it for. So that's what I have for you today. Hopefully you got something out of this. Like I said, I geek out on this stuff, so I enjoy this stuff, and hopefully you do too. I do want to remind you, I'd love to hear from you. So if you want to be on our show, or if you just want me to answer a question, either go to MaximumLawyer.com/ask or text me 314-501-9260. But until next week, remember that consistent action is the blueprint that turns your goals into reality. Go take action, go take action, go take action. That's what matters. So go get it. Take care.